The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this very special edition of Vixens Who Rule. Today's guest, I've worked with, at TNA. A unique talent. I'm going to put it to you that way, and I'm going to get into why in a minute when we bring her on and we speak to her. But a very unique talent. I look at this individual in a little different light than I did a lot of the other, knockouts that I worked with, or divas before in the WWE. Very unique, very special. I'm going to explain that in a minute. I'm going to bring her on now, and I got to tell you, listen, I'm going to give you a little word of advice. Guys, you might want to put sunglasses on, maybe put a veil over your head, like a paper bag, whatever you got, because first of all, she's stunning to begin with. But, the women so far have been great coming on this show because they make themselves up. And they look like freaking movie stars, and it's unbelievable. And when I bring her on, the glow is going to come right. It's going to burn your eyeballs out, for crying out loud. Have sunglasses, have something. Brooke Adams. Brooke, are you there?
I am here. That was quite an introduction. I love it.
Brooke, you look. Listen, I feel that Brooke. Let me set the guidelines first. I'm 54 years old, Brooke. I've been married for 31 years. I've never cheated on my wife. I've got 3 grown children. I don't want to come across, Brooke, as the creepy old man. but when I have someone like on my show, like you, who's beautiful, but I have no problem saying that. There's no thoughts beyond that. You're a beautiful woman.
Trust and believe it. That is not creepy at all. If you have ever read my Twitter page, my Instagram, the stuff that I read, it will blow your mind. I mean,
oh God, Brooke, I can imagine. But I always feel that way. And then Brooke, then there's the politically correctiveness. Some people get on me when I put over to girls how beautiful they are. And my whole thing is, listen, there's no hidden agendas. And I always thought, Brooke, that girls like to be told that they're beautiful. Oh. So I never understood why some people give me heat for that.
It's just about how you say it and what you say it. But I can tell you, at the end of the day, every woman likes to be put over, likes to be put on that pedestal that you were talking about, loves to be told that they're beautiful. Every woman. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Awesome Kong. I don't care if you're Gail Kim. I don't care if you're Brooke Adams. Every female on this planet loves to be told they're beautiful.
Yeah, and Brooke, I'm not talking about the hot beautiful. I mean, Brooke, you're princess beautiful. You look like a princess today, for crying out loud.
Thank you. But I love the fashion. I love glam. But I also love being an athlete. So I think that's probably why that makes me so beautiful, because I'm not just, a gorgeous face.
No, yeah. Well, Brooks, I was talking a little bit up front about the standing out and the separation. And you just used the word athlete.
Yeah,
athlete. And Brooke, I want to start at the beginning. Brooke, the way I interview people, it's a little different because I don't go over, well, in 2008 you became the women's champion and you faced. I don't care about that. I got Brooke Adams here. I care about Brooke. So we're gonna talk about Brooke. So Brooke, I gotta listen. We know we can't believe everything we read on Wikipedia, but. Yeah, Brooke, I like to kind of use that as a template, okay? Because the first thing, Brooke, that slapped me across the face, and I would think that there has to be some validity to this, that you had to say it at one time or another. I don't see anybody making this up, but it appears when you were a young girl, your family was struggling, And I was reading that at some point in time, you literally lived out of your mother's car when you were about 7 years old. Is that true?
Yeah, it is true. I grew up in Missouri. I mean, my mother worked 3 jobs. I remember watching her come home and literally just sit in a chair and rock just to keep herself awake until she could go to the next job. And Brittany and I, that's my twin sister, we took care of ourselves. We had to get up in the morning at 7 years old, get ready for school, go to school, come home, her not be there, do our homework, do everything on our own. And I mean, that makes you grow up at a very young age. And in between leaving some bad family members, my father, there was times where we lived in and out of our car just trying to run and get away. We shut off our entire family, who I've just recently got back in touch with, just because my mother wanted to close that entire chapter of her life and get her baby girls away from my, excuse my language, piece of shit father who has never been a dad. So yeah, that's all true. And I think that's very shocking to people, because everything that I have, I literally have built on my own. You know, I don't think that like the deck of cards really was supposed to be for me to be a pro wrestler. I really see more envision maybe like an IHOP waitress. Nothing to IHOP waitresses, but I feel like that's really probably was supposed to be my destiny. But I never wanted that to be. I saw my mom struggle and I said, you know what, that will never, ever, ever be me. And I mean, I was very shy. I was the shyest person in the world, in school, projects. I would cry and freak out if I had to talk in front of people. And I said, you know what, I can never make it if I don't get out of this shell. I don't want to be like my mother. I want to go above and beyond. And I want to inspire other people that grew up the same way that I did, that didn't have anything. And I know there is a way out. If there's a will, there's a way.
But you know what though, Brooke, like, you know, when you make the comment that, you know, people like wouldn't believe that, you know, this is how I came out, but you know what? I disagree with that. And I'll tell you why, correct me if I'm wrong. And this is why I love, you know, diving into the background, because the background and the way we were raised, that determined the rest of our lives.
Yeah.
And I think even through going through like the chaos of living in a car, I can't even imagine. I'm not going to tell you that I can. You know, your mother, you know, an absentee father, your mother having to get the kids out of Dodge. It almost sounds like a movie to me. Yeah. But what I'm hearing though, you know, Brooke, is your mother holding down 3 jobs. We're talking about a woman here that was very strong. And subconsciously, I think on your behalf, even though you saw what she was going through, and that's not going to be me, I think what kind of had to come through loud and clear was how strong the woman was.
Oh my God, she's so unbelievably strong. And I mean, I meet women all the time. I meet mothers all the time. And I don't know how my mother did it. At the end of the day, you get in a car and you have 2 kids and you just go, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, but I'm going to keep fighting. She fought through so much shit. I can't even tell you how many times we ran, had to pack up and leave, live in our car, find a place. Like, we moved to Texas from Missouri by picking a state, my sister and I. We got to pick any state. She's like, where the hell do you want to go? And had no idea how we're going to get there. We had a little hatchback Daytona, fit everything that we could fit in it at the time. And because my sister and I thought there'd be cowboys and Indians and horses and stuff, because you're so young, Texas. So we came and we literally started over out of nowhere, you know, and from there, she just really built a life through waitressing. Then she met somebody, you know, slowly got rid of 1 job at a time, and now she's a flight attendant. But I mean, at the end of the day, I've never seen a woman that tough. I mean, she could lay some tile for you. She could rip out a toilet and relay it. She can drop a transmission. She can build a deck, and those things she's passed on to me.
But Brooke, was there ever a father figure? Was there a stepdad? Was there an uncle? Was there ever a father figure in your life?
Yeah, I actually had a couple, and the one after my real father, before I even came to Texas, he was another one that I can't speak too highly of, who I've kind of touched base on with recently as well, but, you know, was kind of an alcoholic, was very physical with my mother. It was just a tough childhood from one man to the next, and you're really looking for that strong male figure, and really the only person I could turn to for that was my mom. She was my mother and my father, time and time again. Now, once we did leave Missouri and we came to Texas, I did have a secure stepdad for a number of years, and his brother became like my idol, who came to all my basketball games, who coached me through everything. I finally had this male figure that I always wanted to, because I am an athlete and a tomboy. So I just really wanted to like impress my dad. And so him and my uncle, they really played a hand in being my father. And the most devastating thing that happened to me was, his name was Robert. He passed away from AIDS about 6 years into my life. So it was really horrific. And then my mother split with my stepfather. So then again, there I was about to graduate, still no father. But at that point, I just made a decision. I didn't need a father. I went that far along the way and doing great things without one. My mother was that rock, and that's all I needed.
But you know what? Again, let's talk about, Brooke, the subliminal, because I hear what you're saying. Now, is that something, though, Brooke, that you're trying to convince yourself of? Because listen, just so you know, Brooke, a lot of people call me like the Oprah Winfrey of podcasting. Okay. Now, when I hear you now, I'm listening to you, but women in your situation, Brooke, that had an absentee father, and there wasn't a father figure really there. Women in your position, they always say, as women like you get older, the guy that you're looking for is the father figure you never had. Do you feel any of that, now in your adult life?
You mean as far as into dating?
Yes.
No, I don't. I really don't. I mean, you mean like I'm looking for someone like to represent that my dad was like?
No, you're almost looking for a father figure to take care of you. Let's put it that way.
No, not for me, because, and I think that's really, though, one thing that comes and harps on me in my relationships is I'm a doer, and I do everything myself. I can do everything myself, and a man wants to be a man. They want to take care of you. And I now, because I've always had to take care of myself, I've always watched my mother take care of herself and us. No, I can do it. I can do everything on my own. I don't need you to do it. I don't want you to do it. The only thing that I want in a man is I want the security of a home and a family, but it's someone just to love me and tell me that they love me, and to go to bed with me at night and take care of me, not cheat on me, not lie to me, and mentally, emotionally, and physically support me in that way that I never had.
Well, that's good to know, Brooke, because, listen, this chucklehead, Robbie E, if we were looking at this guy as a father figure, Brooke, I would never want to be the kids. Can you imagine being the kids of this lunatic, bro?
Could you imagine if there was two of him? I mean, let's take a step back and imagine if there was two Robbie E's.
Listen, I got a lot to say about this, and we're going to talk about this later on. A lot to say about. As a matter of fact, Brooke, I want you to know that minutes before you came on, I had his partner in crime on. They do that podcast together, EC3. And I want you to know I totally blew him off because I had you waiting for me. I want you to know that, Brooke.
I think EC3 is actually like really cool. I mean, he's a smart ass, and he is an all-star, man. But I think you picked a good choice.
Yeah, I blew him off. Brooke, this is something that, like, I looked at this and I absolutely cracked up, because this was a first for me. I never knew a woman who did this before. And again, I'm going off of Wikipedia, but this couldn't have been made up, okay? Because I looked at this and I popped. But of course, I say to myself, she's the only one that could have done this. Now, I'm looking, you talk about athletics, and you did everything in high school. You ran the whole gamut, but I'm reading that you actually played rugby.
I did, and we had this coach that came in, and he played at the YMCA, because it wasn't something that was like through the school, even though our coach coached it. And at the time, like, I had anger problems, probably from my dad never being around. Who knows? I don't know, but I would play Smear the Queer like every day after school in between basketball. And this coach came
what is that called?
Smear the queer.
What is that?
I hate saying queer because, that's like a gay reference, but it's pretty much like tackle football. It's everybody for themselves. One person gets the ball, and you have to make it from one side of the field to the next without getting smeared. Smear the queer.
Now is there? I mean, guys are playing this too, or just girls?
That's how hardcore I was.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Me and like one other chick, and you gotta remember, I'm pretty small, but I think I had Napoleon syndrome at the time. I'm pretty sure because I thought I was such a badass. Let me tell you. But anyway, so I played it every day. I'm like, rugby, man, that's awesome. That's football without pads. Yes, I'm in. Finally relieve some of this stress. Hell yeah. So I joined the team, and let me tell you, it is legit football without pads. I can't tell you how many cleats to the face I took. It's actually a really cool, fun sport if you don't know anything about it. But yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
Well, now once again, Brooke, I'm gonna slip into my my Oprah girdle because now, what was your twin sister's name?
My twin sister's name is Brittany.
Brittany. Now it's identical twins.
No, I wish.
Fraternal twins.
That would be really fun, but we don't even look like sisters. She's got like really blonde hair, big green eyes, great skin, and my body with no muscles, no boobs, no butt. Very
okay.
small.
Now I want to ask you this. Now you just laid out the competitive nature that you're playing rugby, for crying out loud. I mean, which is absolutely ridiculous. But now I have to think now. Now let me go a little further. Now there's a twin sister.
Yes.
Is a lot of the competitiveness coming from that?
100%. Brittany and I, growing up, everything was like it was her versus me, But at the end of the day, and I hate saying this because it's going to sound bad anyway, I always won. So that put a huge damper in my relationship with my sister. That's where she was like, oh, Brooke wins everything. Brooke's the basketball player. Brooke's the star this. She's the one where all our parents go to all her games and blah, blah, blah. And we actually were both nominated for prom queen. And to see my sister finally light up and get to almost be like a part of something with me, because it was always, she was never good enough to make the team. She was never good enough to do this. And I'm not a cheerleader. I try to help her get on the cheerleading team, but she just hated that I was trying to help her with something. So we were both nominated for this. And in the end, I won and saw her, it just literally break her heart.
But Brooke, isn't that a crappy thing for them to nominate the both of you?
Well, you know what's crazy of why they did it was because you have me, the girl that I'm in Future Business Leaders of America. I'm in Toys for Tots. I'm in all these great academic classes where I could have graduated as a sophomore. I'm playing all these sports. And you have my sister who's involved in none of that. Okay, she's representing more of the, I don't like saying it, but like the nerds, your underdogs. Okay, so it was really a cool thing that they did because you have this all-star, okay, she's probably going to win in the underdog. And it really got our school just fired up about it. You have her on this end, a bunch of whatever's in between, and me on this end. It's like, who the hell's going to win? And then in the end, I took home the W.
But bro, Brooke, that had to be difficult for her. I mean, that had to be difficult for you. How did you deal with that afterwards? Like, what do you say?
Well, I wanted to hug her, and she just hated me. She really hated me. She wanted nothing to do with me. It's forever, for a long time, put a huge dent in our relationship, in our family. That's what, my sister doesn't live in Texas anymore. She left right after high school, and I truly believe it was things like that made her leave. She's like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna get away from my sister, and I'm gonna start my own life over here with my own friends and do my own thing. Now we are like the bestest of friends. You couldn't separate us. Like, she carries, at work, she works as a waitress, my TNA, cards and stuff, and loves me and brags about my accomplishments and things like that. So something had to happen though, Brooke. No, like some kind of, I'm sure maturity, let's face it, the older you get, I understand that, but man, it just seems like she could have been carrying a lot of baggage for a long time. Did something happen? For when she got up to leave?
Yeah, no, like when you two were able to come back together.
She had a child, and when she had the child, it was like, you know what, I want my baby to be a part of your life. And it was like everything that we had thought about, you realize it's so petty and it's just childish, like sisterly love type competitive nature things. And she also realized that everything she was trying to do, like that wasn't her, you know, she was a video game type chick, I'm the athlete, you know, and it was just her trying to find her own light, and it was crisscrossing paths, and she just didn't know how to get that direction and how to get there. You know what I mean? And now she's like, you know what? I'm the one going to school. I'm going to be an anesthesiologist. I'm going to be laughing at you when I got all that bank. That's what she says to me now. Like, you know, she's going to school and she will be an anesthesiologist. She has a beautiful daughter, and she's planning on moving back soon. So
yeah, well, you don't want to screw with her either, because as an anesthesiologist, she could put you under and totally beat the crap out of you. Brooke, I got to ask you this question, and answer me honestly. And listen, I know you're an upstanding citizen. You know, today, I didn't know you back then. Was there any boyfriend stealing on your part?
No, ew. I can't. That's so.
Are you absolutely not?
Like anybody that was even remotely interested, that's like a no. I don't understand the whole sharing boyfriend type things. I have a lot of friends that have family members that have dated some of the same chicks, and that's just so weird to me. And her and I are so different that we don't really attract the same type of guys. I can't tell you if they thought I was attractive or not. It was just not even like, you're not even there. That's disgusting to me.
Now, brother, Brooke, I have to ask you this. You were always, to me, separate from the knockouts. Like, and I'll tell you why. When I looked at you, Brooke, when I look at you now, first and foremost, like, I'm seeing fitness.
Yeah.
I'm seeing a woman who, like, yeah, I like wrestling and I'm a wrestler, but like I am a fitness. I mean, that is my number one thing. And I mean, Brooke, I say that, you know, every picture I've seen of you, I mean, it's fitness. Now, Brooke, give me the chronological order. We know you played a lot of sports in high school. How did that turn into bodybuilding and fitness? And then how did the pageantry come in? Like, what order did these things go in?
Well, I would say the fitness thing started first. And this all goes back to me wanting to figure out ways to attract my dad. Like, oh, if I'm an athlete and I'm a badass, my dad's going to want to be a part of my life. And I shit you not, I started doing Richard Simmons. I swear to God.
Wait, listen, let's clarify this. You weren't doing Sweating to the Oldies, were you?
Kind of. My mom had all of these Richard Simmons videos. And like I said, she left for hours at a time to work, and we were not allowed to leave the house. I'm like, man, my dad would come back if I'm a badass and do all these Richard Simmons videos. And I have an awesome 8-pack, and my 8-pack I have to dedicate to Richard Simmons. I did that whole damn video, 7 minutes for 7 days for 7 months. I did a whole video every day.
Wow.
Every freaking day I would take this.
Now, Brooke, how old are you at this point doing this?
Okay, this is, I would say, about 10 years
wow, are you serious?
old. Yes.
I've never even heard of a 10-year-old that ever worked out.
I swear, 10 years old, and then I would go I was allowed to leave, so I'd go in the backyard and do laps around my yard with my Rottweilers, making them chase me so I could be quick.
I hate to interrupt you, Brooke, but this is fascinating to me. And I got to throw these questions in or I'll forget. Okay, first of all, I've never heard a 10th grader working out, ever, a 10-year-old in my life. Please don't tell me, though, you're not dieting and watching what you eat at 10, are you?
I didn't know what that even was. I had no
Okay, all right.
Oh, and I mean, like I said, we weren't rich, so ramen noodles and SpaghettiOs, yeah, that was like, and it had to be something that Brittany and I could cook ourselves while my mom worked. So you're talking about lean cuisine type things that are disgusting, that say they're healthy but not, that my mom would leave for us. But no, I was not dieting. I didn't become, that came way later on. But yeah, I was working out and training very young, just because in my mind I wanted my father to come back in my life. I'm out in the garage with paint cans. It just sounds ridiculous. I would take a broom and
do the gimmick.
Paint cans and do, yes.
That's incredible.
My sister's like, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, my guns. You understand? I need these. So like that was just something that like once, and then when I got into high school, you know, PE and everything, oh man, I was addicted to it. I was like, man, I'm gonna run this whole 40 minutes. You know, you go outside and you have to run like 3 laps. I would run 20. I would never stop. I just wanted to be like the best athlete that I could. And then once I got to basketball, volleyball, weightlifting became a big thing. And you know, we'd have to take our bench every other week or whatever. So I took that very seriously, getting our max outs and stuff like that, and squatting and benching. I haven't maxed out in years, but it was something that I really dedicated myself to because I saw like results and I saw I was getting abs, and I just became obsessed with it from that point on. And then when I broke out of my shell, I won prom queen, started getting into bikini stuff from a friend, and I had to be in bikinis. So that's when I started dieting. Like, oh, wow. You know, and that's when fitness started becoming a fad. Not like it is now, but it started becoming, you know, really popular. You could Google any kind of workout and any kind of diet. And I really dedicated myself to that. And then I started getting into the pageants, and then I won like Miss Hawaiian Tropic Texas, Miss Swimsuit USA, Miss Bikini, all these pageants. And it's like, man, I don't have that competitive edge anymore. Like it's fun. I get to be beautiful and this part of me, but I don't get that like really awesome contact.
Yeah, but I would think, Brooke, I understand completely what you're saying, but I would think now, Brooke, at that point, yeah, you're not going to get that through pageantry, through pageants. You're not. But I would think, though, Brooke, you would get that through professional bodybuilding. To me, like that would seem to me like that would be the next logical step for you. Did you ever consider that?
No, I actually competed. So once I won all of those, my director at the time, my pageant director, was like, girl, you're getting really lean. What are you doing? You know, because that's when I started really dieting and loving the fitness part. I'm like, yeah, I would love to do a fitness show. She's like, you can't do the pageant to do the fitness stuff. So I said, you know, I'm going to put my crown away for a little bit, and I want to see what I could do in this. And I started dieting hardcore, and I competed and did a figure show. I want to say when I was 19. I won my first show, and I came back to compete in the pro level, and I lost. It was such a hard thing to do. I mean, the most rewarding thing, once you walk off, you're like, holy shit, I just did that diet. Oh my God, I killed myself at 5 a.m. in the cardio, but it was just like, it was too much. Like, man, this isn't for me. I want pizza when I want pizza. I mean, I want to look good and have the biceps and abs, but I can do that without not having a life. So I got to taste that a little bit, and then about that time, I got an email to try out for the Diva Search. So then it went into pro wrestling.
Okay, a couple of things. And I'm glad you kind of brought me to my next point, because here was the thing. You know, Brooke, you're talking about the 2006 WWE Diva Search. Here's what I'm reading. You do not make the top 8.
Yeah.
What the frig do those 8 girls look like, bro? I mean, I'm reading. Listen, I don't know how the WWE, I don't know how they judge talent. You know, because just talking to EC3, you know, they let a guy like that get away. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm talking to tomorrow, Brooke. I'm talking to Lucha Underground, Evilise.
Yeah.
Another one who went through, and I'm like, I don't understand. So now I'm reading. You didn't finish in the top. How is that even possible?
When I look back, though, when I look back, because remember I said I was pretty shy. Okay, so I think I went in there and I wasn't shy like I was, but I came out of my box, and there was just so much more I could have done, you know, and it was more like I was thinking, what am I allowed to do? What's okay? Kind of like what I still kind of do today, rather than being like the stone cold going out there and just saying, kid, I'm going to do this, this, and this. You know, I didn't know how to go out there and really steal the show yet. I was just still reserved and shy and whatever. So I could see why, because I didn't do something that was so crazy that really took their attention, and until the end when I didn't make it, because I spent every dollar I had to go there, because they had already picked all the girls. And when I called, they're like, the only way you can come is if you pay for your flight and your own hotel, which they covered for everyone else. Because I was coming in so late, because I'm begging them, like, just let me come, please, just let me show you. So I agreed to, and they were staying at the Ritz-Carlton, which I did not know, and I had no money at the time. I had nothing. I'm like, where am I? Ooh, this place is so fancy. And I'm like, how much is this going to be a night again? Oh, so when I don't make it, I'm like, what am I going to do? Oh my God, I have no money. And I just started panicking and freaking out and crying. And at that moment, they come and tell me, like, where was that? A couple hours ago. Like, where was the raw emotion? And at that point, I realized, I'm like, oh, I did this all wrong. If I could go back and redo the whole Diva search, I feel 100% I could totally have a spot, but I didn't understand what it was that I should have been bringing. You know what I mean? Like, they needed more of that, somebody that could talk on the mic and come out of their shell and be a character. And so,
no, Brooke, I can understand that. I can understand, going into it, not really knowing what they're looking for. But here's what I don't understand. You do wind up getting like a little developmental deal from them now at this point, but a year later, and they release you. I would have to think in that year, somebody would have saw something.
It was just that there was a huge nightmare of things that had happened between my ex-boyfriend and myself. And I hear these rumors about I stole Melina's furry boots and, I was a problem here or there. And it had nothing to do with that. It's just some private personal things that had happened. And we were on our way out from the expose to getting to finally separate when all of these things happened. So I know they saw something, and I know we were on our way, because right after that led into the Layla Kelly feud from the expose, but it just was the wrong timing for things that were happening in my life that made me part ways, which I really thought that was the end of all pro wrestling for me.
So the boyfriend, that was somebody in the business?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I could understand that. That's that could be issues. How do you segue into TNA?
So, I like I said, I honestly thought, I'm like, you know what, this whole chapter of my life is done. I was very sad because I really loved it. I really tried whenever I was at practice. I built a lot unbelievable, tore me a new one. And I love that tough love. That's what I had growing up. I'm like, I want you to beat it in me. I want you to make me learn this. And I was on the road so much that I didn't get a lot of that training that I really wish that I had. And so when it was all done and I didn't even get to shine or do anything or show the people what I was learning, what I really wanted to do, it just devastated me. And I went back into like doing pageant stuff and modeling things. And then I met a promoter that was like, yeah, why did you try for TNA? I'm like, what? I don't know. Why would they want me? Blah, 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 type thing. Like, they don't know who I am. I don't know, maybe. And he's like, well, I'll set you up with Terry Taylor, and who was with us at the time with talent relations. And then, he made a phone call, we connected, and then Miss Tessmacher was born.
Do you know where that comes from, Brooke? I want to make sure you know where that comes. Do you know where that comes from?
Yeah, Superman.
Okay, and that was Ed Ferrara came up with that, because I didn't even know what he was talking about, and apparently Ed loved that movie, and that's where the name comes. Brooke, let's talk about you again, because listen, we could talk about the knockouts and 2010 you beat so and so. I don't. I want to talk about you because you're very interesting to me.
Thank you.
I can't believe though, Brooke, everything I'm listening to you say, everything I'm hearing, I can't believe that wrestling would fill that competitive nature for you. Listen, everything's predetermined, but it's not only that. It's political. It's who's flavor of the month. There's so many things involved that has nothing to do with how good you are. There's so many other intangibles. Number one, I don't think for a second you would lose that competitive nature. Number two, I don't know how that would get fed in the world of professional wrestling.
It doesn't. A lot of times it doesn't, because like you said, there's just so much crap that comes with this that you don't even realize, that fans have no clue. I had no clue, even from WWE to here, because I didn't have the in-ring part that came with it. It's just like, who's the favorite at the time? Who are they high on? Who's knows who or what? It just doesn't matter. But to me, I guess, like, I compete with myself and like, okay, now what can I do? Well, how can I push them to get their attention now? Because it is so difficult, because if they're not high on you at the time, you're just brushed to the side. And that part does get irritating. And because I want to be able to go, everyone needs is a chance, and if you don't get the chance, you can never show anybody really what you're made of. So then, yeah, at the end of the time, that competitive nature isn't filled. But then when I go out there and I do things that I never thought I could do, it is. Or wrestling someone like Awesome Kong and be able to walk to the back, a legend like that, you know, it's an unbelievable feeling, you know, and the sportsmanship, walking out there, feeling from the fans and getting to be anything that you want when you walk out there. It's a great feeling, you know?
Yeah, Brooke, but I gotta disagree with you.
Yeah.
Because I look at you, Brooke, and I would think, and there's no way this hasn't gone through your mind. When you're telling me your background and what you've done in rugby and lifting paint cans at 10 years old, you know, when you're telling me this stuff, there's no way. I would think somebody like you would have UFC written all over them. You want to talk about competition. You want to talk about probably finding nobody that works out harder than you and is more dedicated than you. Have you entertained that thought?
I have thought of it several times, and then at the end of the day, I just go, wow, you know, I really like my face. Like, I love my face, and like, I want to be able to have kids and hold my kids and not be crazy in the head from taking so many blows. And I feel like if it was something that I was going to do, I should have maybe got into a little bit earlier in my life. And I've still thought about it, because you got Ronda Rousey. Oh my God, she's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I love to be looked at in that way. And I do truly feel in my heart that I have the competitive edge and nature to go and conquer something like that. And the only thing that separates me literally is destroying my face, destroying my body beyond belief, to where I can't have a normal life afterwards.
Brooke, you talk about your face. I don't think you like really are obsessed with your looks. And I'll tell you why. I can tell you a story of every single girl I've worked with in the makeup chair, in the makeup room, at WCW, WWE, and TNA. And the hours and hours and hours you would wait to go do pre-tapes. You were never that girly girl. I mean, you just never were. You were never high maintenance. I never saw you in front of a makeup mirror for hours. I never saw that. I mean, so is the beauty. It seems like everything with you is body and fitness. Like, it's almost like, oh, I'm gorgeous and that'll take care of itself.
That's funny, but let me tell you the reason why you never saw me in front of a mirror. Nobody ever sees me come to work without my face on. Nobody does my face. Nobody does my hair. I do my own hair. I do my own makeup, and I do it before I get to the building, because I do believe that the first impression that everyone sees of you, it sticks. And I don't know when they're going to call on me to be ready. I don't want to sit and wait after 10 bitching girls to get their face done and complaining and the negativity. I would rather come, be ready, and have my face done, so when you need me, I'm prepared. I don't need to waste time in the mirror when I get there at call time. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. But you know what else that is? See, Brooke, I'm like the Oprah. I read into things that you tell me. But you know what else that also tells me? That tells me there's no ego involved. Because a lot of girls do that because they like to be pampered. And when you're sitting in a chair and you're getting makeup and you're getting hair done and all that, you feel like a star. That's important to a lot of people.
Love the act of having someone do that for them. And me, I'm very picky. I don't need that. I like the way that I look, the way that I do it, and I don't like someone up in my hair. And no, I'd rather get it done, be at work, be ready, and not have to sit there and wait on anybody. And you're not going to see me carrying around a mirror all day. My shit's done, it's on point, and it's ready to go. And I'm like that all the time. I'm the person that you will never, ever, ever be waiting on. I will never complain about it.
Never.
I will fix the one piece of hair. I will never, oh my God, my eyes here, because I do it myself and it's done. It's the way I like it. And I will be standing there ready when you need me.
Okay. Now I'm glad we're going down this road here, Brooke, because we got to talk about a couple things here. I want to talk, Brooke, like about beauty tips, because, Brooke, I'm 54 years old. I got a lot of the gray going on. Right. So like, Brooke, I always have the beard, and like the beard is really, I mean, leaning more towards gray than it is dark. It's probably Oh man, it's probably 65-35, right? So like, so my wife says, you know, I've been married 31 years. She says when I let my beard grow in, like I look like an old man. So what happens is I wind up shaving, and when I shave, I don't like to shave because I think I look like a little kid, and I think my face looks too fat. So now somehow, Brooke, I've got like I've got, you know, I got goat man. I'm goat man now. Now all of a sudden I'm a goat now. I don't have this. I don't have this. I've got this. I don't even know how I got this. Brooke, please, like, do something with me. What do I need to do? Like, I asked DC3 this.
Yeah.
And like the guy's an imbecile. You know, the guy's telling me, oh, you look perfectly fine. No, I got issues. What do I need to do to myself? And here's another thing, Brooke. I think you'll respect this. I never in a million years would dye my hair or to gray for men, whatever. I don't believe in that. I'm not a phony. This is who I am. What do I need? What do I do with this?
I don't even color my own hair, but the one thing that is one of my biggest pet peeves is seeing a man of your age that goes and does, what is it, gray for men, the hair, whatever.
Yeah.
I can tell that it is dyed when you do it that way. To me, having a little salt and pepper is sexier than somebody covering it up where I can tell when the light hits it, this really weird iridescent color, because women can tell. They really can. My only suggestion is to make your eyebrows match the top of your head somewhere up here. They're very, very dark, and then all it does is make this look so much lighter. And this,
but now you're talking. Let me take my glasses off so you can take a good look at me. But now you're talking about coloring. Now, see, you're talking about the gray for men gimmick.
Like, get used, like thread them or tweeze them. There's so much of them. It's like, eyebrows. Ooh.
Brooke, you're making fun of my eyebrows now. We were Brooke, we were bonding. So you're not talking about the color, like they need to be thinned?
Yeah, just thin them out a little bit, shape them. I mean, Robbie E could probably thread them for you. I mean, he's great at it.
So, and what is that called? Yeah, there's a name for that they do with the eye.
Threading.
Threading. That's what I need. I need to get my eyebrows threaded.
Yeah, shape them up a little bit. I'm a fan of a little facial hair. When my boyfriend now shaves it, I hate it.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna do something with the because my daughter's turning 21. She's always on me with the eyebrows. All right, now Brooke, let's talk about a second thing, because this is something like, Brooke, you gotta walk me through this process, and you really gotta help me here, Brooke. I'm 54 years old. I can't, you get the tire in the stomach. You get soft in the stomach. You become the Pillsbury's doughboy. I try to get to the gym. I try to do the cardio. Here's the thing. First and foremost, Brooke. First of all, I do try to go to the gym. But Brooke, I absolutely hate it. I hate it. I hate working out. I hate doing anything like that. First and foremost, Brooke, what it is it's discipline. Yeah. So explain to me how you were able to come up with such discipline where day in and day out, I'm working on my body no matter how tired or how sick or jet lag or this, because you can make a million excuses. How do you do that?
Because at the end of the day, everybody can have an excuse, but you have 24 hours in your day just like I do. What I do with my 24 hours versus you is obviously going to be different, but we still have 24 hours. You can't find 30 minutes in 24 hours to get to the gym. Can't find an hour. You can't find that for 5 days a week. Everybody can. It's a matter if you want to or not. And at the end of the day, when you put a bikini on and I do, we're going to look a lot different. So once I started seeing the results and I became obsessed with that, and it's a lifestyle change. If you can get past 2 weeks, that's why I tell everybody, that's why I tell my clients, just get in the gym, get your cardio on point, get your diet on point, wait 2 weeks, see the changes. And once you become obsessed with that and you see that all it takes is consistency, and that's what I've done. That's exactly what I've done. I've lived in a bikini. I want to look great. I want to be an inspiration to women, and that's where the discipline came in. I do it for myself, and I do it to push other people to live a healthy lifestyle. It's very, very important.
No, very, very important. Well, Brooke, I mean, obviously somebody like me, a normal, I'm not even a normal person, but no, let's say normal people, obviously, Brooke, they're not going to be able to, have the workout regimen that you have. They're going to go off their diet here and there. So like a regular person, like, for at least maintenance, Brooke, what kind of advice can you give us? Like what should we be doing every single day, do's and don'ts?
Okay, so for me, for everyday people, cut out sugar. Cut out your sugar. There's a lot of things that you can eat that, I mean, I don't really like Splendas and things like that, but I mean, if you need sugar,
you could like put honey in your coffee, right?
there you go. Yes, there's so many different alternatives, and the big excuse that I hear from people is, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to find a diet. I don't know what workouts. That you can't. That's done and over because there's this thing called the internet. Yeah, it's crazy. It works well. Anything you want, and you'll get a full body workout, something for your pecs, something for your abs, diets. There's apps on your phone that can calculate everything for you. If you literally just spent 15 minutes a day doing some push-ups, some planks, and abs, and a little bit of cardio, and you can do that all in your house, I think most people would see a lot of difference. You don't even got to go to the gym. And there's so many workouts you can Google on YouTube that are like at-home workouts with things that are in your house.
Well, Brooke, you know what I love about your look? And obviously I wouldn't mention any names. What I love about your look, Brooke, is you always look so healthy. I used to see, girls in the business, that would diet. And Brooke, I used to question them because I was worried that they would become an anorexic, bulimic. But I used to worry by their appearance. You always look like so healthy. Hey, Brooke, like literally, if you don't, I mean, is there any way you can't work out in a day? No, seriously, like what I mean, is there any, are you just so programmed that like I can't not go?
No. Like, I mean, there's times where like I'll skip a whole week. There's times where you really have to listen to your body, especially when your main job is being a pro wrestler. There are times your body needs to rest. There's times that you work out 5 days a week. You're actually building muscle while you're sleeping. You put millions and thousands of tears into your muscles every time that you train. What do you need to do next? You need to close those. You need to heal. Like, and overtraining is something that a lot of people do. Over dieting, something that a lot of people do. I love food. I love also looking a little soft in areas. I like to look lean and have guns and abs, but I also like to look feminine and, like you said, healthy. That's very, 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 very important to me.
Hey, Brooke, let me ask you about, Brooke, I know, like, how the politically correctness in wrestling, you have to be, please, you got to watch every word you say. But Brooke, let me ask you a question. As somebody who like makes a living and a career, your livelihood about fitness and health, and, you're just an unbelievable example. Brooke, if you're in a locker room with another female wrestler, and you see what I see, oh my God, she's losing way too much weight. She doesn't look healthy. How do you handle that, Brooke? Do you if you tell another woman that, are they going to be insulted? Because listen, you are competing with them, and they're always going to think the worst. Or do you almost feel like, you know what? I have to. I'm worried about that person. I have to tell them what I think. Have you ever been faced with that?
I see it all the time. I've been around it since I came into professional wrestling, and it always scares me and worries me because we need padding to get thrown around. We're already little people, and to not get hurt, well, past more than what we already do, you need padding. It's not healthy to be a sack of skin and bones and get thrown around the way that we do. I mean, even without that, it's not healthy. But like you said, like everything that you say can and literally will be held against you in that locker room. So, and coming from somebody, I think I have a very great body. So for me to say something like that, it comes off negative, it comes off rude, it comes off as if I think I'm better than you. And that all comes out with the delivery of it. But some people are not approachable in that sense. And most pro wrestling women are not. You know, they look at you like, excuse me, could you mind your own business? Rather than, oh, you know what, she really cares about me. She really wants to see me be healthy and not get hurt. And I'm such a nurturing person. I love spreading my knowledge. I love spreading my health and beauty tips, but sometimes there's just not a time and place for that, which is very, very unfortunate, except for like, unless you're close with certain girls, because I have a couple girls that will text me, hey, what do you do for this? Hey, what do you think of this? Do you like my outfit? Do you think my body looks good? And I can be honest, but for the most part, the majority, you just can't. You just got to sit back and let somebody live their own life.
Brooke, it was always the red light for me all the time because, Brooke, let's face it. I think one of the, a normal woman now, I think, a compliment you can give any normal woman is, oh, you look like you lost weight.
Mm-hmm.
You look skinny.
I hate hearing that. Oh my God, I hate hearing that. I get so annoyed. I'm like, I need to eat potatoes. I got to stop running. I ran too much this week. I need to get some carbs in me.
See, now I wanted to ask you about that because here's my mentality on that, Brooke. I used to get the same response when I used to tell girls, you look too skinny.
Yeah.
But I used to think, Brooke, I used to get that response because maybe they were doing something to lose the weight. And the minute I told them about it, they become very, very defensive because they knew they were doing something wrong. That's what I would have mean. Was I off base?
Not about doing something wrong. I don't know if it was like the delivery. I don't know how you said it. Like I said, like women are just so incredibly sensitive about it. I don't know why, but I think, like, for me though, I like having an ass. My whole thing is my ass. I don't ever want someone to say you lost weight because the first thing that goes is what? The ass. It's all fat. That is all fat back there. You know what I mean? But like, that's weird that you got that response because most women that I'm around in the knockouts, that's what they're aiming for. Like these girls take, I don't want to single anyone out, but they take, water pills, diet pills, fat burners. I don't take any of that stuff. I'm very, very much against it. I think it's so unhealthy for your liver, your skin, your hair, your nails. And when you're on the road and you're flying and you're already dehydrated, you're just adding more pressure and stress to your body and something that's going to harm you in the long run. Your organs need water. Your organs need it to be thrown around and to be an athlete and jump around and sweat for the next, whatever the night involves. So I don't believe in fat burners. I don't believe in the water pills. So, and on knowing that all these women take this, that's crazy that they weren't more like, oh, I'm so skinny. Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And I got to tell you, like, how, like, you talked about to me, like with a guy with guys, like what's appealing and not appealing. I got to tell you, man, I'm an old man, but I can tell you this. To me, the most unappealing thing is when you've got the giant make-believe boobs and you're as skinny as a rail. It's one thing to have them, but when you're like, you have them and you're a toothpick, it's like, oh my,
that's not my thing at all.
And Brooke, that can't be healthy. That cannot be healthy.
It's not. But I don't understand the want or desire of that look. I know, like when Pamela Anderson was like big and around, but when you look back at her big breasts, but she still had a body that went with it. You know what I mean? Like yeah. I wish mine weren't as big as they were, and a surgeon messed up on me and gave me ones that I didn't want. So now they're like way bigger than I wanted. There's nothing sexier to a man than a woman that's perfectly proportioned and has curves. A man 9 times out of 10 is going to want a girl that is 10 pounds overweight rather than 10 pounds under. It's just more appealing. I
agree.
It's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's somebody you can lay next to. You don't feel like you're laying next to a hard board of just like a cold, blah, you know what I mean? Like they love meat. They want to grip onto something. And you just look, like you said, glowing and healthy.
Yeah. Hey, Brooke, I got to bring this up now, and I got to get a little personal with you because you brought it up. So I got to, I'm Oprah. I got to ask the follow-up question now. I got to ask you what I'm thinking, okay? Brooke, I would have to think about you just talked to me like about something as simple as water pills.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe you wholeheartedly. About, your regimen. I believe all that. But Brooke, I got to ask you a question now. As somebody that is all about, health and, all that stuff, you're a role model for that, for crying out loud. And when you talk about, the derriere, and then you got that picture on your Twitter for Mamma Mia, crazy. But I got to ask you that now, Brooke, you just told me, I would have never asked the question because it's very personal. You just told me that you had implants.
Yes,
That had to be a very, very difficult decision for you to make, knowing that regardless of how you look at it, something unnatural is going in your body. Can you just explain that process to me? Your thought.
I remember growing up, and my sister she had talked about wanting breast implants, and I was the one who was like, ew, why would you ever want that? Because I was an athlete. That was never important to me. I just thought that was so incredibly ridiculous, but I also didn't know my life was going to take me in the direction of pageantry and being a model and all of these other things. So when I got into the pageants and stuff, I'm looking around, and I got this big ass, but I mean, I literally was flat. I had the 100% athletic, sporty body, and it just gave me a complex. And I don't think there's anything wrong with fixing something that you just don't completely love about yourself. I don't suggest going and butchering your face, but by all means, if you don't like your face and that's going to make you happy, go change it. I get a lot of questions on, what do you think about plastic surgery? Well, you have breast implants. Well, what do you think about like Kylie Jenner and the lip things and all this stuff? And if at the end of the day you love yourself and it makes you more comfortable, fine, by all means do it. And the reason why I had implants done was because I was a model, and then everybody in pro wrestling has them, and to me it completed my look as a sexy woman. I felt like a woman finally. It's like, like I have all these muscle and this big butt and no breasts, and then it just made me just feel like complete once I did it.
But Brooke, Warren, and I understand that totally. Hey, Brooke, I was just watching a special the other day. I don't even remember what channel it was, but I was really intrigued by it. It was on professional female bodybuilders, and it basically said they all have to they all get the breast implants. They have to. I was real. So like I get all that. I totally understand that, but the real important question I'm asking you is, somebody who takes one, such good care of your body, was there a struggle with something unnatural going in your body?
Oh, completely. And I remember freaking out the night before, like, what's going to happen? I don't know. And it was and once I had it, it was so unbelievably uncomfortable. And it hurt. I'd never felt anything like that in my life. And I just thought, oh my God, I just made like the worst mistake of my life. Now I have them. What am I gonna do? Take them out and have like big floppy skin, and everything that comes, really, that's what's going through your head. I'm like, ew. And it took me a long time to even like what it looked like. I'm like, this isn't what I wanted. I was like, you know what? I looked great the way that I was. It was completely fine. It was just getting around other women that gives you a complex and insecurity about it, and what you think men want. Mm-hmm. You think men want you to have this. And I didn't overdo it by any means. Like I had 150 cc's less than I do now. They were very perfectly proportioned to my body, but I hated myself for the first year, and they weren't like how I wanted them. And that's the other thing that you have to remember when you take on something like this. It doesn't mean it's going to come out what you're thinking in your head. And because I am so strong and my body was so tight, I have so much muscle, it pushed them this way. And I think if you see pictures of me, I have pretty far apart breasts, and there's nothing I can do about it. It has to do with the muscle that's in my body, the way that I'm shaped. So my suggestion to anybody that's going to do that is you got to prepare mentally for what's going to happen after, because you don't know what you're going to have. You don't know what the doctor's going to give you. You don't know how you're going to look. You don't know how you're going to feel about it. I mean, I hated myself. And then, I was so lean, you could see the whole bag. So I went back in to get from saline to silicone, and that doctor shoved in an extra 100 cc's in, and now I'm stuck with these really big boobs that I hate.
Now, how did that happen?
When you go in, and this is with every doctor, you sign like about this thick of paperwork. Like if you die, it's not up to me. And then there's always like a clause like, I will do what I feel is necessary while I'm under. And I remember him telling me, he's like, if you're getting your boobs redone, just go bigger. Every doctor pushes this. And I just want to smack him in the face. I'm like, dude, I've had boobs already for 1.5 years. I'm happy with the size. I just don't want you to see the dang bag every time I move around because I'm so lean. And so I wanted to switch the type of implant. And he's like, kept trying to persuade me. And I should have took that as a red flag and went somewhere else. But I trusted him, and while I was under, he gave me 100 cc's more, and they are enormous. My body, if you've ever seen me in person, you know I'm little. I am very little. So now I have these huge boobs that go into my armpit that I can't lift my arms without hitting them, work out without hitting them. They're just obnoxious to me.
God, Brooke, that almost seems like it's got lawsuit written all over it, no?
I thought it did. I mean, I really, really thought it did. He not only did that, but I found out I'm on my 3rd one now. I also found out at that time he had punctured one of them. So for the whole 2 years after that, I had busted boobs.
Oh my gosh, what a nightmare.
It was horrible. It was freaking horrible. He also didn't remove scar tissue, so it was creating bacteria in there. So I just recently had my 3rd boob job, but you can't really go smaller once you've had that big, because then again, you get that like saggy, gross effect. So I mean, after I have kids, I'll probably have a reduction and go back to a tiny, tiny C, not a double, triple D. Like, there's no reason to have boobs like this, in my opinion.
Well, Brooke, you keep giving me great segues because speaking of boobs, I want to talk about this Robbie E character now, and I want to talk about Robbie E. I want to talk about the Amazing Race, and I can talk about this from experience because I've had him on this show. Mm-hmm. So, of course, Brooke, listen, I'm a 54-year-old man, 31 years married, never cheated on my wife. So, Brooke, I gotta live vicariously through some of these guys sometimes. Brooke, you're leaving me, Brooke.
Hold on. Can you see me?
Yeah, where you going?
I gotta get a charger.
Oh, your thing's gonna. Don't let you. Oh, see now you're gonna cop out on me. The thing's gonna die now at the good part.
I know.
Can you hear me while you get your charger?
I can hear you. Keep going.
Okay, so Brooke, I gotta live vicariously through somebody. Robbie E's a good-looking guy. He's got a great physique. Ethan, good-looking guy, great physique. I gotta live a little vicariously through these guys. So I asked them the question, Brooke, and I don't think you'll take any offense to this, like whatsoever. I asked them the question that any guy would have asked, and I basically said to him, I said, Robbie, I said, how do you get a girl like Brooke Adams? I said, you just have to tell me, like, how do you do that? Like, I don't know. I've never had a girl like, I don't know. So Brooke, now he's telling me this real romantic story. He's telling me this romantic story about, I guess there were a lot of people at a party or something, and I don't know, it was raining outside, and you and him went for a walk, and then he talked about there was a puddle or something. He didn't want you to step in the puddle, so now he scoops you up so you don't step in the puddle. And now, there's that moment you're looking at him, he's looking at you, and he lays one on you. So now, Brooke, now the guy to me sounds like, Cary Grant, for crying out loud. Yeah. Mr. Romantic. I'm like, oh my, bro. I'm like, that sounds like a movie. That's incredible. So now I'm thinking, this is an all right guy. This is like, what a move, So like in the next breath, I'm saying, Robbie, how do you end a relationship, with the Brooke Adams? And then he turns around to me and he goes, I can get any girl I want. And I said, not for anything, Robbie. I beg to differ. First of all, I said, in your wildest dreams, you're never going to do better than a Brooke. I'm sorry, bro. Let me break the news to you. It ain't going to happen. But, Brooke, I got to ask you this. Listen, I know Robbie, this is a guy that wore polka dot trunks on his tryout at TNA.
Yeah, it says douchebag all over him. I should have took that red flag as well.
Okay, now listen, people don't, I know Robbie. He is who he is. The guy on TV, that's that knucklehead. That's who he is.
Yes.
So, Brooke, now I got to ask you, I asked him, how did you get a girl like Brooke? And he brought me through this Cary Grant story. Now I got to ask you, Brooke, listen, I'm sorry. This guy's not in your league. So, like, how does that happen, Brooke?
Actually, so we were in Michigan or Minnesota, I think maybe on, and we were on the road, and then we were all in a hotel partying and stuff. And I really don't party on the road ever. Like, it's just, if I drink, I'm done the next day. So
Brooke, you don't, I hate to interrupt you, Brooke, but I would think you don't drink a lot, do you?
No, I really don't. I'm not like,
okay.
When I do, it's vodka water. It's just very light. So like when I'm on the road, like, because I'm so healthy, it really takes a toll on me. Well, I end up mixing two things that I didn't know what a Los Cocos, what is it?
I have no idea. I only know Yoo-hoo.
It looked like an energy drink. So I mixed it with vodka, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And I hate energy drinks, but I'm like, there's no mixers. Well, it ended up being an alcoholic beverage that I mixed into another alcoholic beverage. And for Brooke, that is not good. So I'm like, woo, party, yay, let's do it. Anything and everything. I'm ready to go. And here's Robbie E. He's like, hey, you want to go with me across the street to the store? I'm like, sure, I'm down for whatever. That's how it happened. And it was snowing outside, not raining. And I went to go jump across like this median, and he catches me for some ridiculous reason, like I can't handle walking in the snow, and does pick me up and like kind of like scoops me away and tries to have a moment with me. And he tried to kiss me, and he got popped. I was like, what are you doing?
Oh, wait, whoa. Yes. So there was never a kiss? Was there a kiss after the pop?
Well, he got popped, and he was like, well, what? I thought you were feeling it. I'm like, I'm feeling the alcohol I just had in the freaking hotel up there. I'm just trying to have a good time, you know? And then he comes in and kisses me again. I'm like, what? And then for the third time, he finally lands it. And I looked at him like, no, that's never happening, like, ever again. And literally, him and I did not talk for a few months after that.
He said that. He told me that part of it.
Yes, had an awkward elevator ride where I'm like, you know, didn't even say anything. And then just one time at Ale House, you know, that's where everybody kind of got together after the tapings to kind of let loose. And I was rarely ever out, like, even to eat, because I just didn't want to even drink or be around or be persuaded. You know, it was the last day of taping, and I was with ODB, and he came over to me and leans on, like, the table. He's like, hey, and I'm like, he's like trying to be like Rico Suave, and I'm like, why is your hair so dry? He's like, what? I'm like, your hair is like so disgusting. Do you know what conditioner is? He's like, you're so mean. I'm like, and why do you wear those stupid contacts? Like, and I don't know if it was me degrading him is really what made him want me or what it was, but then he became persistent. He asked me for my number. I said no. And then he just kept trying and trying. And then he, you know, I got to know like the really funny part of Robbie E that's like very addictive because he's so funny and you're just like, oh, I can't. Like, and I love a guy with a sense of humor. Like, I would take a guy with a sense of humor over a perfect body and face any day. I need somebody that can make me laugh all day long because at the end of the day, we got to be best friends. The looks and all that's going to go away. But so that's really what it was and how he ended up getting me in the end because it was just so ridiculous to me.
No, and I listen, and I'm only teasing because he does have a great personality and he is funny. He definitely left the slap part out. He didn't include that, so I love that. Let me ask you this, Brooke, and I'm not going to ask you a lot of the personal questions about it, but I got to get a little bit of a background because of where I'm going and what I know. So how long did you have a relationship with him?
We're 2.5 years. Yeah.
That long?
2.5 years.
I had no idea. Okay, that's cool. Now, Brooke, Robbie told me this, and like I was absolutely like I had no idea. The Amazing Race.
Yes.
So you guys are broken up before you do the Amazing Race. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the Amazing Race had contacted me because they saw a YouTube video, and like, who would you bring? And I really wanted to bring like another girl or whatever. And that's kind of like what they wanted. And they really weren't interested in Rob because they didn't want like the overly Jersey type person on the show. And I kept trying to tell him, like, you know, like, he's Jersey, but that what you're seeing on wrestling is wrestling, you know, like, he's keeping me normal or whatever. And so they had us do the video and audition for it. And they like, okay, if he's like this, great. You know, he can be your partner as long as he's not going to be the Guido type, whatever. They wanted your normal everyday couples. And they just loved the hashtag the wrestlers, you know, and thought it was just great, which it was. And that whole process was so long to get the videos in, to go into this meeting, to go into here, to go into there. And by the time it came around, like, for us to do the show, we had already separated. It was just, you know, we have a lot of history and stuff with his ex-wife and things like that I'm not afraid to talk about. And really what I didn't want to deal with anymore, and which is why we ended. Like, that's just the truth of it. And yeah, we were separated. So when we left to do the show, I mean, I didn't realize you're locked up in a hotel room when you're not racing for 12, 18, 36 hours with this person with no phone or computer. It's like,
but here, this is interesting to me now, because Brooke, they're under the impression that you guys are together, right?
yes,
Okay, so they're putting you in one hotel room.
you have to, no matter if you go with your sister, your brother, your friend, each team, you're in one hotel room together. You do everything together. You cannot leave that room.
How does that work out with you and him at that point?
And him and I still at that point loved each other. You know, like, were we separated and whatnot? Yes, we were still trying to see if we could make it work. And just literally through the race, it just got unbearable because he thinks I'm a bitch and negative. And I'm like, well, I'm a bitch and negative because I can't stand you and you're not really a man. So you're making me this way. So it was like, you know, I'm like, I'm actually the dude in this. I'm like, both of us. Like, that's what turned me into like a monster. It was so hard to wake up and be around somebody that was just so like, I don't care. That's how he was in the race the whole time. I don't care. I don't want to touch that. Ew, I don't want to do this.
Well, you know what? Hey, I gotta tell you something, Brooke. I'm gonna go to his defense for a little bit, and I'm gonna see how you feel about this. First of all, I told him. I said, there was no question in my mind you wore the pants in the relationship, and I told him that. And he wouldn't admit that, and I told him he was full of baloney. But now, Brooke, after this whole interview and everything that you're telling me, when I look at this amazing race and you tell me this is right up your freaking alley. And this, right or wrong?
Totally, 100%.
So when you talk about competition, now we're going back to the rugby days, and I mean, you're a girl, Brooke, but you're balls to the wall. I mean, this is probably the challenge, maybe, of your lifetime. Totally. Now, him, not so much. I guarantee you, Brooke, that Robbie's thing was, I'm going to get exposure on CBS. Which you know, maybe anybody would have thought, but I could see you being in this to win this. So was maybe the problem, Brooke, that he wasn't as serious about winning as you were?
100%. It drove me nuts. He's like, just relax, just whatever. I'm like, no, I want to freaking win this. This is important. I hate losing. I don't want to. I want to go in. Yes, I want to go in and we can be like characters, because at the end of the day, we're going to come back and be pro wrestlers. So are we looking at ways to be a character in, you know, so we can take it back after this experience? But still, I want to freaking win. And I hated that he was just so like, whatever. Oh, well, just calm down. We'll figure it out. And it's like, no, dude, no, I don't want to calm down. I want to take this. I want to nail it. I want to murder it. And I want to figure everything out. And it just, that's where we bumped heads. Like, I need somebody that can have the same compassion in winning something as I did. He was just so like, more, I'm funny. Oh, whatever. Well, whatever happens. Well, we made it further than we thought we did. Yeah, we did make it further than we thought we did. Now I want to win the whole damn thing.
But Brooke, like, what's the grand prize?
$1 million.
And that wasn't important to him, or did he just think you guys did have a chance of winning?
Well, I mean, I thought when we first went in, I'm like, man, I don't know, because I know how Rob is about certain things, and I'm with my memory or this, that. You never know what the challenge is going to be. and it's really a lot of luck. So, I mean, we went a lot further than I thought we were, but I seriously think he thought we were going to be eliminated first. And then he was like, oh, we made it. Cool. Oh, we made it again. That's cool. Well, okay. Like, it was never like, yeah, I want to go and murder this. Yes. It was like, oh, we made it further than we thought the whole time, and it got so annoying.
Brooke, can you imagine, like, I only think, well, when you're telling me this story, like, I'm thinking about Kurt Angle going for the gold medal. And I'm thinking about, Brooke, can you imagine if Kurt Angle was your partner when he was Robbie's age before the neck surgeries? And can you imagine if you were, forget about it.
God, that would be the most unbelievable experience. If I could trade out anybody, yeah, that would be. Even Kurt Angle now, what are you talking about?
Oh, but yeah, I mean, come on. With the, he would definitely do better than Robbie.
He still, though, would go in there and murder all those people. Like, we wouldn't take home less than first every single round. You know what I mean? That would be unbelievable. I do wish I could do it all over again and bring somebody else. I do wish.
Let me ask you this. I'm gonna get back to Robbie in a second, but let me ask you this, Brooke. Who would you bring right now on the TNA roster?
Like, girl or guy?
Either.
Girl, it's probably Gail Kim.
Yeah, Gail would be great. Yeah.
Because she can put aside just like all the nonsense, the beauty part, because you can't get caught up in that. You have nothing. You have what you can fit on your back, and it's really about seeing the prize at the end, which can get difficult. And I know Gail is great at doing that. As far as the men, Bobby Roode possibly.
Yeah.
EC3 would be unbelievable, I feel like, and he's good at like really manipulating people. So I feel like even outside the competitions and like manipulating people, he would be great at that. Because
let me ask you this, and I'm not going to ask you to name a knockout because there might be some heat there. And outside of Robbie E, what guy would you not choose in a million years
to go with me for the race?
Yes.
Outside of Robbie E, Josh Matthews.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, now I got to ask you this, Brooke. Like now you go to him, and this will be the last question, but I'm fascinated by this. I'm being thoroughly entertained. So now you go into this, but we're still, there's a possibility maybe of a spark again, and we're broken up, but we're not broken up. But at the end of this thing, there had to be like no chance of you ever going out with this guy again.
We literally got home. And I said, "You're out. That's it." I'm like, and he's like, "What? What do you mean? No, I'm not going home." I'm like, "We're packing everything. It's done. I'm disgusted. I don't want this." No, after everything that I saw, like on the race, and he got so incredibly mean behind closed doors, and even on camera, like, and would say stuff to me. What he does is he tries to push my buttons, and he tries to like downgrade me and say things that aren't even true. Oh, you're so lazy. You don't get up before 12. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, just makes up stuff to get me aroused so that I turn into a crazy person on camera. It's like people don't know what's true and what's not, and he's doing it on purpose, like a wrestling character. Right. Can you leave the gimmick? Leave the damn gimmick. Stop. Shut up. Just sit over there. Just go over there and sit and shut up. Like, he would just do that just to get me freaking crazy. So, and he said some things that were pretty embarrassing in front of the other people on the cast, and then it just made me so disgusted at him. I'm like, you know what? You really are a rotten person. He loves, in a relationship, like, he just likes to make you feel less than he is. I don't know why. Maybe just so you'll stay. I'm not sure. It's like he does these like weird, crazy games, and then he tries to act like he doesn't care, but then he comes back crying. It's like, dude, you got some screws. I'm done with this. All the nonsense, fine. So the race really just did it.
Yeah. Hey, Brooke, this will be the last question to you because this has been a great interview. I've learned so much about you, and I love it, and I know people watching this will love it. You've accomplished so much. I mean, the fitness, the pageants, professional wrestling, competing in the race at the level that you did. I mean, is there something though, Brooke, that you haven't done yet? Is there something like way back here in the mind? Listen, I'm with TNA now. I'm wrestling. I'm happy. I'm making a living. But is there still that one thing that I gotta do?
I want to be an action superhero in a movie, like one of the Angelina Jolie's character type thing, like in Wanted, something like that. It doesn't have to be a superhero, but how she was in the movie Wanted, or Tomb Raider, or the Underworld, those characters. I would love to do something like that. That's something I just recently started doing some acting classes, because I'll say it, I'm like the worst actress ever. Like, I have to really dig deep. Like, I think that's where the shy part comes from. But yeah, that's something that's a huge goal of mine, and I don't give a shit what anyone says. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Oh, sure. Well, why? I mean, why wouldn't you believe that? You know, Brooke, you got all the tools, and the most important thing is, bro, Brooke, I'm not talking about how beautiful you are, the body. It's the determination. That, because a lot of people give up along the way. You don't quit anything. Brooke, you know what else though too? Like I would think that you'd be great at, and I've known some girls, wrestlers, in the industry who have done this. You seem like you'd be a great stunt woman as well too.
I've actually been talking to Taryn Terrell about doing some stunt stuff. She tells me all these things, and she does. I'm like, man, that would be awesome. And also, what better way to get in front of directors and producers than coming up and like just being a stunt girl, and then like, hey, I'm also doing some acting stuff. What do you think about this? Like, you're already right there. And it just, I feel like there's such a thrill in doing the stunt stuff. I mean, you're jumping off buildings, off flying cars, and things like that, rolling down stairs. I have zero fear. So I think that would be pretty exciting and a perfect way also to get my foot into the door for movies and stuff like that. And thank God I have somebody to talk to, like Taryn, who's been in Jurassic Park, I think it was, or is it the Planet of the Apes, all these crazy movies. She got hit in the head by Will Ferrell himself, went viral.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Awesome. I love her. So it's great to have a good friend in the business like that can direct me in the right way.
Yeah. Well, Brooke, before we sign off and before I give you my final thank you and put over, let's make sure we plug everything that is Brooke Adams. I will start by plugging, TNA, Destination America, Friday nights. Now, you have a big match coming up with Taryn. It's this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And recently, Taryn has flipped over to the dark side, and she's got some little villains in her corner. It's now called the Dollhouse. I'm hoping and praying it's not going to be some type of 3-on-1 dealio, but I wouldn't put it past her. I think she's pretty mad and upset about everything that's happening between her and Kong and not being able to win. And now she's just turned into, it's kind of ruined our friendship a little bit as far as on TV wise, which kind of stinks. I would have loved for her to stay on my side and us had teamed up, but that's not the case. So now I have a title match on Friday.
Brooke, I've been seeing a lot of graphics for TNA lately, and I don't know who does these graphics, but they're beautiful graphics. I mean, the TNA graphics are beautiful, but I keep seeing like the graphics with you and Taryn, and like I keep seeing like a cage. It's not a cage match, is it?
Extreme. It's not in a cage, but I think the pay-per-view, or excuse me, the rest of the show is, but we're not in a cage. No.
Okay. Now give me all the social media. Where can we all follow you?
So easy. Everything is Real Brooke Adams on Instagram, on Facebook, and on Twitter. Real Brooke Adams.
Okay. Well, Brooke, listen, I want to, I thank all my guests on the show, but I don't just thank you for doing this. Listen, I'm very grateful that you're doing this. I really, really appreciate it. But, more importantly, I'd like to thank people for the time when I worked with them, because, I left. You don't get to thank the people you want to thank. And, everything I've said here about you is so true. You were so easy. There was never a disagreement. Like I said, I never saw you in a makeup chair. You made my life so easy, when I was dealing with, people that had a tendency to be headaches at times. And I want to really thank you for your professionalism in the years that I work with you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's crazy and awesome to see someone notice that. You think that those things go completely unnoticed by everyone. And so I've never actually heard somebody point those things out. And they're things only I know that I do, but it's great to have a boss and somebody that you work for see those things, you know, even though it's been years since I've seen you. It's pretty awesome. I love it.
But I love that you told me about the story of, you know, coming to work with the makeup and ready to go, because I never saw you in a makeup chair. So now I completely understand why.
Yep. The only thing now is if I need help with, like, and I wear extensions, if I need help getting them secured, but that's something that I do throughout the day or whatever, but you won't be waiting on me. Yeah.
Well, Brooke, good luck with everything. And listen, this, you know, of course, TNA and, you know, the acting career too. I mean, my gosh, it seems like you just, yeah. And when you talk about, you know, the superhero woman with the fights, and I mean, gosh, that's got you written all over it.
I just feel like it will complete my story. You have this girl that came from nothing. You have this girl that never had a father figure, that went through all this turmoil and these ups and downs, and I never stayed down. And I just feel like finally, then in the end, becoming this superhero and this fighter and this inspiration to other women. I feel like that's how my story is supposed to end.
Absolutely, without doubt. And it is a great story. I thank you for sharing it with us. Don't go anywhere yet. I'm going to sign off, but then I want to give you a personal goodbye. But there you have it, everybody. Brooke Adams. That's why this show is called Vixens Who Rule. To me, strong women, I've always loved them. Independent, putting guys in their place, like, you know, the feeble-minded Robbie E. I love that stuff. She is the prime example, Brooke Adams.